Well, as it happens, it was 20 years ago that I received a fax from Vladislav Arzenba asking if I would be honorary consul for Abkhazia in Great Britain. So just as you're about to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the victory in the war, I am celebrating 20 years as honorary consul. But it's really only been over the last few years that I have had, in a sense, an official duty to perform, and that is the preparation of visas for visitors to Abkhazia. They can now get their visas before arriving in Abkhazia, as opposed to waiting until they arrive and then picking them up at the Foreign Ministry. So I prepared a number of visas this year in the same way that I did last year. I think this year, I'm correct in saying, only for UK citizens, whereas in the past I've prepared them for visitors from Switzerland, from France, and in one case I think America. But in this regard I could stress one point, and that is that a number of people, when they approach me and say they're interested in coming to Abkhazia, often start by asking if in fact it's safe to come here. And I explain that it is safe, that I myself have been coming here every summer for at least the last 14 years, and I and my family have no qualms about doing so. And but the reason why this question is asked is because on the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office's website there is a warning to prospective travellers to both Abkhazia and South Ossetia that they should not visit these secessionist territories of Georgia, because, of course, as everybody knows, as regards the British government's attitude, Abkhazia and South Ossetia are still classified as officially part of Georgia. And this does in fact make people think, well, where am I going? What sort of country am I going to be visiting? Ever since the war in 2008, the Russo-Georgian War, Georgia has stated that Abkhazia, South Ossetia are occupied parts of their territory, and foreign visitors think, well, occupied territory, am I going to see soldiers wandering around with guns, keeping the locals in order? Who knows what's going to happen? So I can put their minds at rest. But there is a technical consequence of this warning on the Foreign Office website, and that is when people travel abroad, they are expected to take out travel insurance. And the premium that people have to pay, the amount they have to pay in order to gain travel insurance, rises if in fact the insurance company thinks there might be greater risk in the country concerned. And the insurance companies, not knowing themselves what life is like here, look at the Foreign Office website, they see, oh, British subjects are warned not to visit there, maybe we have to increase the amount that travellers will pay in terms of their premium. And these days everybody is very cost conscious. Everybody knows the economic situation in the world in general, and this can put people off. So we have to do something, I think, to try and persuade the Foreign Office to change this recommendation on its website. And if it's possible for some official complaint to be sent from Abkhazia to Whitehall, I think this would be a very good idea. And if I can play a part in helping to get this advice changed, then I'm happy to do so. As I've said before, possibly even when interviewed by you, I'm in the fortunate position of being able to combine my academic interests with my personal interests in Abkhazia, because what I write about Abkhazia counts as a contribution to my academic activities and, if you like, academic achievements. And last year when I was here, I spoke about the imminent publication of my latest work on the Abkhazian issue. This is a book looking at both the Georgian Abkhazian and the Georgian South Ossetian conflicts, and in the book I try to present a different perspective from the one that most people in the West are used to reading about, used to hearing. And finally, although the book was basically completed over 2 years ago, I finally managed to get it published this year. It was published in Holland by the publisher Brill. The book is called Discordant Neighbours, a reassessment of the Georgian Abkhazian and Georgian South Ossetian conflicts. Unfortunately, it costs $109, which means that it is not likely to achieve a wide readership in terms of people buying the book itself. But I do hope that interested parties, politicians, diplomats, academics will read the book and come to see that a different perspective is necessary from the one which they are used to hearing, basically from Georgian sources. And so I'm very pleased that the book came out in the spring. There are already 2 copies in Abkhazia. Your foreign minister has his own personal copy, and there is a copy at the Centre for Humanitarian Programmes. And I decided that the centre should have a copy because they often receive foreign visitors, and therefore they can show foreign visitors that such a book exists and interest them in perhaps buying a copy or at least reading the book when they get back home. I have one further copy with me to present during my time here in Abkhazia, but as yet I haven't decided who the recipient is going to be. Well, everybody who knows the situation here recognises the difficulties that you're faced with in promoting yourself, not least, of course, the question of finance. What can you do with the resources available to you? Nevertheless, I think one can fairly say that the achievements of the Foreign Ministry over recent years have been extremely impressive. And I congratulate you on what you've achieved, and hope that you will continue your activities to persuade more people, more states in the West to show an interest in Abkhazia and make them understand the situation here, leading to further recognition. One of the important steps that you've taken in recent years is the creation of a really attractive website, not just one website, but parallel websites in different languages. This is something which I've been urging on my various visits to this particular ministry over many years. And so I'm very, very pleased to see that this advice finally has been taken on board and something concrete has resulted from it. One, of course, can mention, I know it's not part of your activities, but I do think that you have helped the person concerned, Metin Sönmez, who is of Circassian origin from Turkey. Recently, he's been living in London. For a number of years, he has single-handedly been producing the Abkhaz World website, which has been a very, very important source of information about Abkhazia, gathering various materials and presenting the situation without any contrary voice. It is not possible for readers to make comments. In fact, some years ago I was asked by a Georgian if I could exercise some influence on Metin and allow him to open the site up to comments from various readers, and my response was I certainly do not agree with such an approach, because one knows that the Georgians have many opportunities to present their case, and we don't want this particular site tarnished with the sort of comments that one is used to reading in response to Abkhazian statements. And as I say, I know that you have been giving support to Metin, and I think he has done an excellent job, and I congratulate you on recognising the importance of his work. But in general, just continue slowly to work away, make the case, point out the misinformation that comes from the other side of the argument, and ultimately let's hope that the case is won and wider recognition follows. But in general, the work of the Foreign Ministry is to be recognised, and you are to be congratulated on what you've achieved.